Hey gang, welcome back. We are in the second part, more of the promotional part of health education promotion. So with this class, I really want you to focus on planning your program. So we kind of justified last semester. You kind of gave me the idea, you gave me your mission, goals, and objectives. You looked at the framework, all of that, and looked at potential committee members at the end. So this semester, we are going to really focus on how we're going to do this. I really want you to investigate different programs that actually have worked. I want you to look at journals that you're going to publish in. A lot of times people do wonderful research and they work so hard, but then they can't publish in a journal because they don't realize their program isn't really contributing to the research. It might be a great program, it might be something you can do, but finding an outlet to disseminate is really important in the academic world. So keep that in mind. So the first module, I want you to think about your resources. Think about what do you have access to? So some of you are already set up in programs that you're already working with YMCAs, you're already in schools, you've already been doing some of this stuff with your other pathways, which is great. Some of you have to be a little bit more realistic. Some are still thinking community-wide. So you're going to have to really think about can you work with these government agencies or the community outlets that you're thinking about? So I want you to think about the resources. You don't have to have a big budget, but I want you to do a budget sheet. Some of you already want to go for some funding, which is great, and it might just be internal funding, but when you do a budget, you need to list everything out. I do advise you to look at the NIH budget sheet. You don't have to do in that way, but I do need the numbers, and then I want a justification because that's kind of the format they use. But think about the direct and indirect cost when we do budgets, and sometimes you think, oh my gosh, I would love a grant for $500,000 a year. That would be wonderful. And you think, well, how am I going to spend that? Well, it gets eaten up pretty quick because you got to think, even as faculty members, when we get a grant, we don't get any, well, I don't get any extra money. Different schools are different ways, but most times it's to buy out your time. So the university pays you to do a job, and if you're going to do this grant, they're going to have to buy out that time. So that's a huge cost as personnel, is buying out time for lead researchers, and then you start thinking about other equipment that you might need. A lot of times with physical activity, a lot of us are doing physical activity. Those accelerometers are expensive. They're $350 a pop. And that's really expensive. And then you also have to learn how to do it. So you might want to go to a workshop. And then you got to think about, well, if I do this project, I am going to want to go disseminate the information. So I am going to want to go to a conference. So there's a lot of things that start adding up quickly. So talking about $100,000 really isn't much in the researcher world because we got to buy out time, we got to buy equipment. Sometimes we have to do incentives for our participants. I mean, it's kind of the nature of it. And with exercise science, that's fine. When you start getting into health behaviors, then you have to start thinking about the integrity of your program. Is this modified because of the incentive? So your discussion, you're going to talk about your resources, and I think this is good to talk with each other. We have a couple new folks joining us. So last semester we had our 70-50 with our core group, but actually there are some folks who took a semester off and who are going to join us. So help each other out, be very specific, like you're explaining to somebody who doesn't know your program, and that way you could kind of banter back and forth and ask each other questions on the resources. You'll just send me in an assignment your budget sheet. So again, detailing out what you would be spending things on, and then the justification of why do you need that equipment or personnel, or what are they going to be contributing to. So not too bad this module. So get after it, read the book. There are a lot of links that I put in there as not required, but associated links in there for further reading to help you with that budget. So good luck, and if you need my help, again, either send me an email or just send me a quick text and we'll set up a time to talk.